They be crocodiling, alright. You're gonna kick some of their butts using a mop. I'm not talking out of experience whatsoever. This is the only farming games guide you will ever need. With so many farming games releasing, it's hard to know which are worthy of your time and money. So in this new series, every part will bring you the best farming games that should be in your collection, and I'm gonna categorize them for you as beginner friendly, intermediate, and advanced so you can buy the right one for you. Hello you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. If you love farming RPGs, make sure to squish the subscribe button because you don't want to miss out on the upcoming episodes, because this is gonna be an ongoing series on the channel and I'd love to see you again. Starting with our beginner friendly farming games, Wildflowers is one that completely flew under my radar. It was released when I had just packed my bags and moved all the way to the UK, so even though I have the game code for it, courtesy of the developers, I didn't get a chance to play it until last year. And oh my goodness, what an amazing farming game that is, especially if you're new to the genre. But even if you're not a beginner, the roller coaster of a story is perfect if you are more into intermediate and advanced farming games. When you first meet Terra and start exploring Fairhaven, you slowly unlock magic while meeting the quirky villagers, and you get this sense of belonging that not many farming games can offer. Usually, farming games are either very good with gameplay and they have cabbage communities, or they're very good with the story, but the gameplay is very repetitive and boring. But not here. Wildflowers manages to bring the best of both worlds as you learn the secrets of your grandma and the coven that she is a part of. During the day, you're gonna be farming, you're gonna be helping villagers around with their quests, you're gonna learn more about them, and then at night, you enjoy magic. You can fly on your broomstick, you can transform into a cat, and even control the weather. The storytelling is so good here, and I was surprised that I rarely ever found the same dialogue being repeated. And the best part is that this is fully voice acted, where the voice actors express their emotions so well that you feel so immersed and part of this world. Now, there are times where you might need a guide to progress the story because some of the relationships follow a trigger system that is a bit similar to what you see in Rune Factory 4, but regardless of that, the game slowly gives you new mechanics, so it makes it very easy to understand how to play. There are various shops to go to, resources to gather, blueprints to unlock, and I appreciate how the devs are still working on patches till today. That's almost 2 years after its release. We've gotten plenty of new content updates as well, and this is how you can tell there is true love and passion for the project, and that Studio Drydog really care about the community of farming gamers. I'm gonna pin my review as well as my beginner-friendly tips in the comment section if you want to check it out. Another beginner-friendly farming game is more so DLC, and I'm talking about The Sims 4 Cottage Living along with Horse Ranch DLC if you're interested in horses. The Sims 4 is known for letting you tell your own stories, and while this 4th generation has so many DLCs, if you're a farming games lover, then these 2 DLCs should be part of your collection, and I highly recommend them. When you combine them, you can run your own ranch, you can get barn animals and use their products to sell or make your own home-cooked meals. With the Cottage Living DLC, you can develop your relationships with your animals, while the Horse Ranch lets you own a horse and enter various competitions as you try and become an ultimate champion. Both of these are very easy to get into. Yes, there is a grind to upgrade and level up your skills, but the Sims team does an excellent job at providing a proper tutorial to introduce you into all of the new features. So they're gonna break down what every DLC brings, and it will make it easy for you to know how to play. Then all you need to do is, if you're like me, spend hours getting CC to customize that perfect sim and maybe get some mods in there if you want to, create your family, and then move into the new world that comes either with Cottage Living or with the Horse Ranch, and start up different challenges from rags to riches to sabotaging families, or maybe, I don't know, murdering entire households if you have you know what mod. But even if you end up playing the vanilla version, there's still a lot to do and it's gonna consume you. You're gonna have such a great time telling your own story. And if you want to learn about the Horse Ranch DLC specifically, I do have a review for it that I'm gonna pin in the comment section. Now, with Coral Island's 1.1 beta update and the team Stairway Games really pushing forward with the 2024 roadmap, you know I had to talk about it. I cannot tell you how much I love this game. This one lives rent-free in my head since I covered the review for it when it first launched into full access. or full release, and it's always amazing to see a passionate developer team really listen to the feedback and really give back to the community. So they're gonna take in what you say and what changes you want to see, and they're implementing it and making sure that you're gonna have a great time playing their farming game. Coral Island is not only about the amazing graphics or the bachelors and bachelorettes that are gonna make you so torn over not knowing who you want to romance and start a family with. It actually has so much content on offer here. Not only are you progressing the museum by donating different items you find, you're also developing your town rank, your heritage rank. You have an awesome giant story connected to the mines. So instead of just mindlessly going from level to level, there's a fun story unfolding here as you go and explore the mines, and each one has different elements from fire, earth to wind and water. I forgot my elements, guys. This is an intermediate game because it has lots of features to lose yourself in, and I do think it will be a little bit difficult for you if this is your very first farming game. But I also think you can still somehow get into it if you're a beginner because the wiki is amazing. There's so much information found there, so if you find yourself getting lost, you could just take a scroll and look up the answers that you're looking for. Now, I've played about 30 hours. I then stopped a couple of months ago because I want the 1.1 update to get out of beta and into full release. So I'm eagerly waiting to finally experience the merfolk story and the romance and see the ocean farming features very soon. I'm gonna pin my review for it down below, but I really recommend you try it out. If you haven't played Coral Island, what are you waiting for? The next intermediate game is a mix of different genres, and I'm talking about Traveler's Rest. Traveler's Rest. This is a mix of inn management, farming elements, resource gathering, and it's also a bit of mindless gaming as well. It is currently in early access, but I still recommend that you check it out. This one is yet again receiving a lot of love from its developers, and it always has updates coming up. So recently we had the fishing update as well as the farming update, and you guessed it, both of these added new features related to fishing and farming. And basically in this game you run your own inn, so you're gonna make food and beer, you're gonna serve customers, you're gonna kick some of their butts using a mop. I'm gonna let you play the game so you find out why you do that, but if you got, if you woke up and chose violence that day, this game is perfect for you. But overall, it's a farming game that is different enough from what's out there while still getting some inspiration from Stardew Valley, for example. There are lots of parts that are still in development at the moment due to its early access state, but it's one that I always love going back into and checking out what new features have been introduced in the new updates. Dengam is another early access game that I always recommend, and it still astonishes me that one person made this game. When I see things like that, and then I see AAA companies making all excuses in the world to say why they didn't deliver on the promises that they made, then again, I just look at games like Dengam. It's a passion project of only one person. It leaves me in awe. This one is what you would have if Minecraft and Animal Crossing had a baby and then they set it in the Australian outback. You leave the city and you go to this island and you slowly build your base from scratch. What is starting as a barren place slowly becomes a bustling city with lots of decorations that you're gonna add. New people are gonna move in, you're gonna build new shops. It's definitely not beginner friendly. This is not hand-holdy. The game just throws you in this open world. There is combat here, and the crocodiles, if you played that game, the crocodiles, they be crocodiling, alright. They're gonna kick your butt. So that's why I would not recommend it for someone who's a beginner. Yeah, some of the combat and some of the crazy ostriches, they're gonna raise your blood pressure a little bit as you see yourself just running out of health and stamina and struggling to overcome them. But in general, the world is very big and it's easy to get lost and not know what you're supposed to do. So if you're not familiar with the gameplay mechanics found in this one, it's not gonna be for you. But if you are, it's gonna be perfect. It's a really good intermediate to advanced game, and you can even play it with your friends. You can go fishing, bug catching, mining, building boats, farming, exploring, crafting so many items. And recently a new update was released called Breezy Autumn. It expands on the season, it adds plenty of quality of life updates and gameplay features. This early access has been going on for about 2 years now. I have a review of it when it first released, so you can get the gist of it if you want to learn a little bit more about it. But it's definitely one that I highly recommend, especially if you're getting that, bit of Minecraft and Animal Crossing itch. Check this one out. The next one is also one that falls a little bit in between intermediate and advanced, and I rarely find anyone talking about this one. It's called Epic Chef, and it's a hilarious journey where you're trying to become a master chef, and to do that, you go to this island and you end up in a haunted mansion. Naturally, you're gonna need to farm to get the ingredients for your dishes, and the fun part is that the soil is so fertile, whatever the word is, so you're gonna keep getting crops all the time. Then you need to cook, and there's a mini game that is a bit tricky. I don't know why I was gonna say pricky. English, what is English? But because of that minigame, that's why I say it's a bit on the intermediate to advanced. You're trying to find these perfect aromas as you cook, and it's really hard to explain. You're gonna need to play the game to understand what I'm trying to talk about. But apart from that, you also have these machines that are very unbubbly, and I'd say the game overall has a lot of dark humor. So if you don't like that, just skip it. If you're, if you have like a very soft heart, you're a softie, you're not gonna like it. But if you're like me and you're okay with dark humor, this is gonna be your jam. You also have competitions to enter. They are so quirky, but again, the cooking minigame is present. It's gonna take you a bit of practice to master. You then own your own restaurant and you need to manage it to keep customers happy. There's a lot on offer here. This is a narrative-driven game. The story is funny. A lot of times you're gonna be like, did this really happen? And I really like games like that. It's quirky, it's weird in its own way, yet it's charming. It's kind of like Wildflowers, where it does its own thing, yet it makes me very excited that developers are trying new things and being innovative in the farming games genre where things can get repetitive and boring. I do have a full review for it if you want to check it out, and yeah, definitely have it on your wish list. Moving to advanced games, this one is, it's what you make it. If you want it to be beginner friendly, it can be, but if you want it to be advanced and pull your hair out, it'd be like, what is going on? Then you can do that as well. And I'm talking about Echoes of the Plum Grove. At its core, it's a survival farming game where you overcome diseases, you witness deaths, be it in your family or other families. You can overcome rivalries, you're gonna get your car stolen, and you're gonna struggle not to starve, and have your lineage ending. I'm not talking out of experience whatsoever, but the good thing is that you can toggle all of these settings off. So if you don't want to deal with something, you can just toggle it off. But as I mentioned in my review, I'm gonna pin it for you as well. The beauty and the charm and the essence of this game is actually dealing with the catastrophes and how unpredictable the game is. So as much as my gripe is how unbalanced the game is, sometimes it's very exaggerated with the amounts of diseases that happen, so you end up just barely having any quest givers remaining. Oh, and even, by the way, even if you do save frequently, sometimes it's just not enough. There's just something charming about keeping this unpredictability in this game. Now, in my review, I did say that this game right now is just not the one for me. Like, it's very fun, it's very innovative. I'm so happy that the developers made this game, but it's a mixed bag. I think it needs to be balanced a bit. Regardless, I still think it's an amazing game, and I'm someone, like, if you're new to my channel or if you're familiar with my channel, I will always recommend games even if I think they're not the one for me, but I feel a lot of love and just effort poured into them. I'm definitely gonna make sure that more people will discover it. So I'd say maybe watch my video, my review about it, or check out some gameplay so you can decide if this is gonna be the game for you. And another advanced farming game that is definitely not everyone's cup of tea. It's on the grim side. It's very weird, quirky, different, but then, yeah, like, it's called Graveyard Keeper, and like, what would you expect from a game that has that kind of name, right? Instead of farming, you're burying corpses and then also handling your own farm. So again, this is more on the morbid side. It has a lot of things of, like, the dark humor that you find in Epic Chef. So if you don't like dark humor, this is definitely not the game for you. If you don't like dealing with the topic of death so heavily, again, this is definitely a skip for you. But otherwise, this is a fun treat. It's by the same developers who made Bandletale, but Graveyard Keeper is a lot more fun, and it offers a gameplay loop that will hook you. That's something that Bandletale miserably failed at doing for a lot of us in the bubbly community. This one is definitely difficult, so it doesn't offer much guidance. You're gonna find yourself in the wiki a lot. It's heavy on grinding, so you can progress through the skill tree and unlock new blueprints, but basically you're burying corpses. You're gathering resources, you're crafting, you're progressing a story, meeting some weird people and non-people, think talking donkeys and such. Again, overall, it's very grindy, just like Bandletale is, but it has more charm to it. It has something, and like the way that the story progresses itself is much more interesting than Bandletale. You're also gonna be facing some ethical dilemmas. You're gonna choose what you're gonna do, which is always a welcome feature for me in the farming games that I play. The story is very questionable. It's gonna make you wonder sometimes, again, like, is this really happening right now? Like, what the heck? But I highly recommend you try it. Even if you're an intermediate player, just look into it. If you're looking for that extra oomph, like, why not? Check it out. You can watch part 2 if it's out already here, or if it's not, here are the 10 out of 10 farming games, a lot of which you probably missed out, so definitely check it out. Thank you to my YouTube and Patreon bubblies for making videos like this possible. Thank you for watching, and a shout out goes to Jake Logan, the game dimension, and Stephanie for going the extra mile. Until next time, stay bubbly.